Hi, it's an update on Russia's war in Ukraine. It's been the 54th day of this horrible and human assault, and I would like to talk today about Mariupol. Actually, almost every video I'm talking about Mariupol because it is still on the agenda both here domestically in Ukraine and in international coverage because by now it is an example of extreme courage and Ukrainian resistance to that Russian assault. Russian forces had besieged Mariupol, but the city still remains under Ukrainian control. A small but very motivated group of military, coast guards, local police, and army units still controls one industrial district in Mariupol and still has not surrendered. This is a very important fact. Russians still want to take Mariupol by any means. They continue bombardment and constant military assault on the city and still haven't succeeded. Why Russians are so upset about Mariupol? Well, because this city became a symbol of Ukrainian progress and Ukrainian success, especially in contrast with the neighboring city of Donetsk, which was conquered by Russians in 2014. In 2014, actually, Donetsk was much more developed than Mariupol. It included international airport and hosted even European football championship in 2012, when Mariupol remained provincial, small town on the Sea of Azov. But in 2014, it's all changed because Donetsk was seized by Russians and actually decayed and lost not only just population but its economic, cultural, educational potential. When most people moved to Mariupol, and Mariupol has been developing and became a symbol of Ukrainian progress, the city by 2022 was very lovely, very cozy. It included new urban transport, it included new city parks. It was very nice place to see, even though it also included old Soviet industries, the two major steelworks. But local government, together with the local community, did enormous job to change the image of the city from industrial town to something European, modern, updated. Mariupol is also a multinational hub. People of different nationalities live there, including Ukrainian Greek community, Ukrainian Tatar community, and that is why the city is being very resistant to Russian propaganda. So Mariupol was the only one obstacle on the way from Russia to Ukraine, on the landway, of course. And that's why Russians are so obsessed about it, and that's why Vladimir Putin wants to capture Mariupol by any price, and still cannot succeed at goals because of a very brave small group of motivated soldiers who hasn't surrendered and who's been fighting for Ukrainian flag in Mariupol. Meanwhile, Russians conduct absolutely unhuman policy. They locked Mariupol and no one can move in or out from the city. And even if you want to move out, Russians place every person to so-called filtration camps, where they actually search people, take their fingerprints, where they question people, search their phones. And Russians say that by doing this, they're searching for Nazis and fascists, not even acknowledging that they do it in a exactly Nazist and fascist way, with breaking any human rights and any freedoms possible. So escape from Mariupol is a very dangerous enterprise, and not everyone can afford it. With those people who stayed in the city, Russians behave in very severe way because they make these people to clean up the streets in exchange for humanitarian aid. In other words, they give them food and make them to work, turning these ruins into a working camp. because by now Mariupol is destroyed. Actually, every house in the city has been destroyed when people still live in the basements with no electricity, no water supply, no gas supply. And what Russians did in order to help to solve this situation is that they brought their mobile crematoria in order to clean up the mess. So they don't want the world community to see second Bucha, and they don't want world community to see all the atrocities that they committed there. No one knows for how long this situation will last, and actually for Russians, of course, taking over Mariupol is a huge milestone, and they would declare it as their victory. But we still believe that Mariupol will stand against Russian aggression for as much time as possible. And even though, despite of this absolutely unacceptable level of cruelty. So the general Russian goal is actually to siege not only Donetsk and Lugansk region, but some neighboring regions too. I've already mentioned that they care about landway to Ukraine. In order to do so, Russians have to remain control over Kherson region and Zaporizhia region. So everyone expects here a break out of a hot phase of war, battles for these territories, and Ukrainian army is actually ready to repel and resist. The question is in the scale of this war, in the scale of this battle, in its scope, in its length, and in timing. Because Russian side actually wanted to somehow end up this war or to achieve some of their goals by the 9th of May, when Russians celebrate Day of Victory. And since they are obsessed with numbers, Putin actually asked his troops to make some victory by these days. But because too little time is left, we expect that the further Russian attacks will be extremely massive and extremely cruel. But Ukrainian army is ready also, and Ukrainian army enjoys enormous support, not just from population, but from international community, from volunteers. This support is massive. People, even though they say that they get tired of the war, everyone still does everything possible and impossible for victory of our country in this war.